Did you know Halloween, with its costumes, candy, and spooky fun, actually began as an ancient festival, honoring spirits and marking the changing of seasons? Welcome to Armchair Archaeology. Today, we're diving deep into the mysterious history of Halloween, tracing it from the Celtic celebration of Samhain, when people believed the barrier between life and death was at its thinnest. Through a blend of Roman, Christian, and modern influences that transformed it into the vibrant holiday we recognize today. In ancient times, Samhain wasn't just a festival. It was a celebration of survival and a night to remember the dead. Villagers lit bonfires, wore disguises to confuse spirits, and made offerings to protect their homes. Over centuries, Samhain combined with Roman and Christian holidays and then crossed the ocean, where it became a uniquely American celebration. And here's something fun. Did you know Halloween only became a major holiday in the United States in the early 20th century? Stick around to see how an ancient Celtic ritual turned into one of America's favorite and most celebrated holidays. Before we dive in, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Armchair Archaeology for more fascinating explorations into history's hidden stories. Our story begins over 2,000 years ago with the Celts, a people who lived in what are now Ireland, the United Kingdom, and parts of France. October 31st marked a pivotal event for them, the festival of Samhain, pronounced Samhain. This wasn't just a day on the calendar, it was the Celtic New Year, symbolizing the end of the harvest and the beginning of the cold, dark winter months. Samhain marked the turning point between seasons, but more than that, it was a time when, according to Celtic belief, the boundary between the world of the living and the spirit realm grew thin, allowing spirits to cross over. This wasn't seen as something to fear, but as a night of reverence and respect. The Celts believed that spirits, both friendly and mischievous, could roam freely on Samhain. To honor their ancestors, families would leave food and drinks on their doorsteps, inviting their loved ones to join them in spirit. However, not all spirits were considered benevolent, and so specific rituals were also performed to keep harmful entities at bay. Samhain was about balance, respecting the dead while protecting the living and finding ways to harmonize with nature's cycles. These ancient beliefs set the foundation for what would eventually become Halloween, where themes of life, death, and the supernatural still play a central role. Samhain's practices and ideas would evolve, blending with other cultural influences to shape a holiday that captures our imagination each year. This concept of a thinning veil between worlds continues to fascinate us, reminding us of a time when people believed that the mysteries of life and death were never far away. Samhain was much more than just a gathering. It was a night rich with symbolic rituals intended to secure blessings and protection for the community. One of the most prominent traditions involved lighting large bonfires at the center of the village. These massive fires weren't just for warmth. They symbolized protection, light, and community unity against any spirits that might be wandering the earth that night. Villagers would gather around, often bringing livestock or crops as offerings to Celtic gods, hoping these sacrifices would ensure a safe and prosperous winter. Costumes also played an essential role in Samhain. But unlike the colorful Halloween costumes we see today, these were simple disguises made from animal skins and even animal heads. The purpose? To confuse any malicious spirits by blending in with them. Dressing as animals or other supernatural figures was thought to offer a form of camouflage, keeping people safe from harm. This belief that disguises could offer protection is actually one of the earliest roots of our modern Halloween costume tradition. Another fascinating aspect of Samhain was a practice that may sound familiar: villagers would go door to door, collecting food and offerings. These offerings, usually grains or small food items, weren't meant for personal consumption. They were gifts for spirits or ancestors, intended to appease them and ensure peace. This ancient practice is actually an early form of what we now call trick-or-treating, showing just how deeply Samhain's customs are embedded in Halloween today. Samhain's rituals, bonfires, disguises, and the exchange of offerings were not just for show. They were profound acts of devotion to protect the community and live in harmony with forces beyond human understanding. Even in our modern Halloween festivities, echoes of these ancient traditions remain, connecting us to a time when people respected the mysteries of life and death. What do you think? Comment your thoughts below about how these ancient rituals compare to our modern Halloween customs. When the Romans conquered Celtic territories around the 1st century BCE, Samhain came into contact with Roman customs. As often happened during these cultural exchanges, the original festival absorbed new elements. Two Roman festivals, Feralia and Pomona, eventually became intertwined with Samhain, creating a richer and more complex set of traditions. Feralia, held in late October, was a day dedicated to honoring the spirits of the dead. During Feralia, Romans would bring offerings of food and drink to tombs and graves, showing respect for deceased ancestors. This Roman tradition blended naturally with Samhain's focus on spirits and ancestors, reinforcing the notion that late October was a time for honoring those who had passed. The merging of Feralia and Samhain strengthened the idea that this season held a mystical power for connecting with the dead. Another Roman festival, Pomona, celebrated the goddess of fruit and harvest. Pomona was particularly associated with apples, a symbol of fertility and abundance. This focus on fruit and harvest aligned with Samhain's own themes as it marked the end of the growing season. The tradition of apple bobbing, a popular Halloween game, likely has its roots in Pomona's festival, symbolizing luck, prosperity, and the rewards of the autumn harvest. The fusion of these Roman customs with Samhain created a tapestry of traditions that spanned multiple cultures and beliefs. By adding Feralia's reverence for the dead and Pomona's celebration of abundance, Samhain was enriched with layers that celebrated both life and death. Yet the evolution of Halloween didn't end here. When Christianity arrived, the holiday's transformation continued. When Christianity spread across Europe, it encountered many well-established pagan festivals, including Samhain. The Church saw these popular celebrations as a challenge, and rather than try to eliminate them outright, it adopted a strategy of absorption and transformation. In the 7th century CE, Pope Boniface IV designated November 1st as All Saints' Day, or All Hallows' Day, to honor saints and martyrs. This was likely done to provide a Christian alternative to Samhain, encouraging people to focus on holy figures rather than pagan rituals. However, many Samhain traditions persisted, especially in rural areas, where ancient beliefs were often stronger. Recognizing this, the Church introduced All Souls' Day on November 2nd, a day for praying for the souls of the dead. This approach aligned with Samhain's emphasis on honoring deceased loved ones and reinforced the Christian practice of praying for the souls of the departed. In this way, the Church incorporated existing customs while redirecting them toward Christian values. Thus, October 31st became known as All Hallows' Eve, the night before All Hallows' Day. Despite the Church's influence, people continued lighting bonfires, wearing costumes, and sharing offerings, blending old pagan customs with Christian beliefs. These traditions were gradually Christianized, yet they retained their original essence, creating a holiday that bridged the sacred and the supernatural. Over time, All Hallows Eve evolved into the word Halloween, preserving the spirit of Samhain in a new form. The Church's efforts to absorb Samhain reflect how holidays can change but still hold on to their roots. Even as Halloween continued to evolve, these layers of Christian influence added depth to the night's focus on spirits, the unknown, and reverence for those who had passed. As All Hallows Eve continued to be celebrated, the night gradually took on a new character, moving from a solemn remembrance of spirits to a more playful and communal celebration. In medieval Europe, this shift was marked by the rise of mumming and guising, activities where people dressed in costumes, often as supernatural figures, and went door to door performing songs, dances, or small plays in exchange for food or drink. These traditions were a way to honor spirits while bringing communities together in a spirit of revelry and mischief. The costumes and disguises worn during these festivities were intended to represent spirits or animals, allowing participants to blend in with the supernatural. By dressing as mystical figures, people hoped to protect themselves while honoring the dead in a more light-hearted way. This era also saw the emergence of Halloween games and activities like apple bobbing, which symbolized luck and prosperity, a nod to the influence of Roman customs. As Halloween's playful side grew, it continued to spread across Europe, with each region adding its unique touches. In Scotland and Ireland, children participated in guising, dressing up, and going door to door, offering songs or verses in exchange for small treats. These customs made Halloween a night of community fun and mystery, rather than one of pure reverence for spirits. When these traditions crossed the Atlantic with European immigrants, they would continue to evolve, eventually becoming the trick-or-treating and costume-wearing traditions we know today. Halloween's shift from solemnity to celebration made it adaptable, helping it grow into the widespread, family-friendly holiday that has become a staple of October in many countries. If Halloween's journey from Samhain to today's celebration fascinates you, don't forget to subscribe for more historical deep dives. Halloween's journey to America began in the 19th century, primarily through Irish and Scottish immigrants who brought their beloved traditions with them. Fleeing hardship, many of these immigrants settled in cities across the United States, keeping customs alive such as dressing in costumes, carving faces into vegetables, and lighting bonfires. Initially, Halloween celebrations were small and centered around Irish and Scottish communities, but they quickly caught the attention of others, spreading through the nation. By the early 20th century, Halloween began to transform from a collection of folk traditions into a broader community celebration. Cities and towns began organizing parades and Halloween parties in schools and neighborhoods, shifting the holiday toward more family-friendly activities. Community leaders saw Halloween as an opportunity to foster a sense of togetherness and fun, encouraging neighborhoods to focus on costumes, games, and safe gatherings rather than pranks and mischief. This approach marked the beginning of Halloween's focus on fun and community in America. The mid-20th century was a turning point for Halloween, as trick-or-treating became widespread. The practice was seen as a way to channel children's enthusiasm into something positive, and candy companies quickly embraced the idea, introducing treats specifically for Halloween. Trick-or-treating turned Halloween into a holiday focused on family and neighborhood activities, making it a cherished tradition for children and parents alike. Halloween's journey across the Atlantic transformed it from a small festival into a major celebration, one that combines elements of ancient beliefs with modern-day fun. Today, Halloween is one of America's most widely celebrated holidays, capturing the imagination of people across the country each October. The beloved tradition of trick-or-treating has deep roots that reach back to medieval Europe, drawing from customs like souling and guising. In England and Ireland, souling was a practice where the poor, often children, would visit homes and offer prayers for the dead in exchange for small cakes known as soul cakes. The idea behind this was one of community exchange. People would pray for the departed souls of a household, and in return, the family would provide a modest treat to honor the spirit of generosity and remembrance. Guising, a similar custom from Scotland and Ireland, involved children dressing in costumes and going door to door to perform songs, poetry, or small tricks in exchange for treats or coins. These costumes were often simple, representing spirits or ancestors, and were intended to honor the supernatural. Together, these traditions reflected both a respect for the dead and a playful spirit, creating a balance between reverence and fun. When Irish and Scottish immigrants brought these customs to America, trick-or-treating began to evolve. By the early 20th century, children in America started going door-to-door in costumes, but rather than performing for treats, they simply collected candy. This activity gained popularity in the 1920s and 1930s, but it was in the 1950s, with the rise of pre-packaged candy, that trick-or-treating became the hallmark of Halloween. Today, trick-or-treating is a quintessential Halloween activity that brings communities together and keeps ancient traditions alive in a new and exciting form. What started as a way to honor spirits through prayers and performances has become a night of costumes, candy, and family fun. Do you love learning how old traditions transform over time? Give this video a thumbs up and let us know your favorite Halloween tradition in the comments below. One of Halloween's most iconic symbols, the jack-o'-lantern, has a surprisingly old and eerie origin. While today we associate these carved pumpkins with Halloween, the tradition originally began with turnips and beets. The Celts carved these root vegetables during Samhain as a way to ward off spirits, especially the ghostly figure known as Stingy Jack. According to Irish folklore, Stingy Jack was a trickster who managed to outwit the devil multiple times. As a result, when he died, he was cursed to wander the earth, unable to enter either heaven or hell. To light his way, he carried a burning coal in a hollowed-out turnip, creating the first jack-o'-lantern. When Irish immigrants brought this story to America, they found pumpkins, a native North American plant, much easier to carve than turnips. Pumpkins' larger size and softer flesh allowed for more elaborate designs, which quickly transformed the jack-o'-lantern into an American Halloween staple. By the late 19th century, pumpkin carving had become an essential part of Halloween celebrations, and jack-o'-lanterns began appearing on porches and windows, lighting up the night with their eerie faces. The legend of Stingy Jack may have faded, but the tradition of carving jack-o'-lanterns remains strong. Today, people of all ages gather to carve pumpkins, whether in classic, spooky faces or in creative, intricate designs. This transformation, from a Celtic ritual meant to protect against spirits to a beloved Halloween pastime, is a testament to Halloween's ability to adapt and evolve while preserving a connection to its mystical roots. Jack-o'-lanterns have thus become more than decorations. They're a bridge between ancient folklore and modern celebration, lighting the way for each new generation to participate in Halloween's mystery and fun. Halloween's association with the eerie and supernatural grew stronger over the centuries, with stories of witches, ghosts, and superstitions adding an air of mystery to the holiday. During the Middle Ages, Europe was filled with tales of witches and spirits, and these stories eventually became intertwined with Halloween lore. Witches, often feared for their supposed mystical powers, became central figures in Halloween imagery. Represented with pointy hats, broomsticks, and cauldrons, Halloween witches are rooted in centuries-old beliefs about the supernatural and the unknown. Ghosts, too, became essential figures in Halloween lore, reflecting Samhain's original belief that spirits of the dead could cross over on October 31st. In medieval Europe, seeing a ghost on Halloween was thought to mean that a loved one was trying to make contact from beyond. This made Halloween a time to share ghost stories, adding to the night's suspenseful atmosphere. The presence of spirits was embraced as both thrilling and frightening, capturing the imaginations of young and old alike. Other superstitions became Halloween staples as well. Black cats, for example, were associated with witches and were considered omens of bad luck if crossed on Halloween night. The idea of a black cat crossing one's path became one of many superstitions tied to Halloween, along with others like avoiding broken mirrors, staying away from ladders, and being wary of spilled salt. Together, these elements, witches, ghosts, and superstitions, turned Halloween into a night of mystery, fear, and thrill. They make Halloween more than just a holiday of costumes and candy. They invite us to embrace our fascination with the unknown. The combination of ancient Celtic beliefs, medieval superstitions, and modern imagination has given Halloween a unique place in our cultural landscape as a holiday of wonder and a celebration of all things spooky. Today, Halloween is a vibrant and celebrated holiday, particularly in the United States, where it has grown into a commercial powerhouse. Americans spend over $9 billion annually on costumes, decorations, and candy, and neighborhoods across the country come alive with spooky decor and festive spirit. However, Halloween's influence has expanded far beyond the U.S., taking on unique forms in countries around the world. For example, in Japan, Halloween is celebrated with a focus on costumes and parades rather than traditional ghostly elements. Cities like Tokyo host large costume gatherings where people dress as everything from mythical creatures to popular movie characters, making it a Halloween filled with creativity and fun. In Mexico, Dia de los Muertos, or the Day of the Dead, is celebrated from October 31 to November 2nd and centers on honoring loved ones who have passed. While distinct from Halloween, Dia de los Muertos shares some of Halloween's themes of remembrance and spirit, featuring colorful altars, offerings, and festivities. Halloween has also gained popularity in places like Canada, the UK, and Australia, where people have adapted American customs of costume parties, trick-or-treating, and haunted houses. Social media has further amplified Halloween's reach, with users sharing costume ideas, DIY decoration tutorials, and stories, helping to spread Halloween traditions globally. Despite its modern transformations, Halloween continues to hold on to its mystical origins. It's a night that allows people to explore the supernatural, dress up, and celebrate a little fright. By evolving and adapting to new cultures and customs, Halloween remains a universal celebration of mystery and imagination, reminding us of our shared fascination with the unknown. This ability to adapt and capture imaginations worldwide has turned Halloween into a holiday that truly transcends borders. Did you know that Halloween was once so controversial in the United States that some communities nearly banned it? In the late 19th century, Halloween was associated with unruly pranks and even considered by some to have pagan roots, leading communities to see it as a rowdy and inappropriate event. But by the early 20th century, communities began reshaping Halloween into the family-friendly celebration we know today. Parades, parties, and trick-or-treating soon turned Halloween into a national holiday, loved by children and adults alike. Thank you for joining Armchair Archaeology as we traced Halloween's journey from ancient Samhain to today's festivities. If you enjoyed exploring Halloween's hidden history, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more captivating dives into history's mysteries. Let us know in the comments what other ancient customs or cultures you'd like us to explore next. Until then, Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep the curiosity alive.